Alright, welcome to another edition of Soto Desperado Plays Ark Survival Ascended over here at the Supreme Gaming Cluster. Supreme Gaming is one word, and it's the island map. I'm over here across from Carno Island. I've been making some additions to the structure, to my base. And I added this portion here in case I ever get a wyvern anytime soon. I can park the wyvern down there. I can also raise some rexes down here, and they'll be protected because rexes are pretty big, and I don't want birds attacking them and shit. There's Carno Island over there, so I'm right across from Carno Island. If you guys want to ever show up and visit, and let's see. I hope you guys can hear me. It looks like the sound's not too high. Let me check something. Microphone USB. Okay, so that is working. Alright. So, anyway, we got a video. This is from Josh Piper. Paycheck to paycheck. 8 minutes. Let's see what the gentleman has to say.
All right, I'm going to give you my analysis on why I think so many people are living paycheck to paycheck in the United States. I've talked about this before. I think it's around 70 to 75% of people that claim to be living paycheck to paycheck in the United States. And that seems believable to me. I know people that make even $100,000 or more just because of where they live or the cost of living. They don't really get to save much, even if they make what a lot of people would consider to be a pretty solid income. 100,000 just isn't the same as it used to be. The purchasing power has gone down. Inflation has really hit consumers all across the board, but it really, really negatively impacts people at the bottom. Since 2020, about 25% of the dollar has been eroded. So in the last 4 to 5 years, we've lost 25% of our purchasing power, just in terms of the dollar's power to buy goods, right? You see that in the grocery store, you see it in insurance prices, you see it in pretty much everything. Rent prices have gone up, home prices have gone up by 20 to 40% depending on your market. So a big reason why people are still not doing well and living paycheck to paycheck is, yes, their lifestyle creep goes up. But even if you take someone who doesn't own a home, their rent is a significant part of their income. Okay, food prices have gone up significantly. I'm driving a 98 Saturn. Okay, I have 2 cars, but this is a 1998 Saturn. Okay, and most people don't want to drive this car. This car costs $900, which is nothing. And, it still costs money to insure it. It still costs money to put gas into it. I had to get the oil changed a few days ago. So there's still maintenance costs that go along with operating a vehicle. But I don't have a $1,000 car payment. I don't have an $800 car payment every month on a depreciating asset. A lot of Americans do. They buy newer cars. They want to have a fancy car with all the modern stuff that they really can't afford. They're renting an apartment potentially by themselves when they could be renting it with a roommate or living in an older type of building. But I agree, the rent prices are insane. If you're a normal person, the rent price is going to eat up a decent chunk of your income. In a lot of cases, sometimes it's up to 40 or 50% of someone's after-tax income is going right towards their housing costs. So housing costs have gone up. Incomes have not really kept up with the rate of inflation. And that is really the problem. So your average person that's working a normal job, trading their time for money, has less and less disposable income. A higher and higher percentage of their income has to go towards paying the basics of living, of having a place to rent, of having basic transportation, and of eating, right? Of making sure that you have enough food to eat. I haven't even talked about having kids or having potentially a mortgage payment or owning a home. There's a lot of additional expenses that will come up in your life if you have kids, if you have a house, because you have to pay for all the maintenance costs and insurance costs and property tax and all of those things that go along with owning a home. And you don't get to use the money in your home. Even though you have the equity, you're not going to realize the cash out of your home until you decide to sell it, or until you decide to actually transact. So that's kind of my opinion on why I think so many people are paycheck to paycheck. The workers kind of been screwed. Labor has been undervalued for a long time. People value money and capital and investors more than they value sweat equity. So the normal worker is falling further and further behind because the currency that we have gets devalued. And so you're working and trading your time for a piece of paper in the US dollar that continues to lose its purchasing power. And if you don't own assets, if you don't own gold and silver and real estate and stocks and bonds to a certain degree, then you're falling behind, right? Because you're just earning your money in a piece of paper that every year your costs go up higher than your income does. So I've said it before, it's just the hamster wheel. A lot of Americans, and a lot of other people for that matter, they are on the hamster wheel where they really can't get ahead. Even if they're working, full time, maybe they're working overtime, their money is just not going to allow them to enter into the asset class of society. Now, some people can. If you're very, very diligent and you're a minimalist and you avoid basically doing anything fun in your life for years, you could probably enter into that asset class. But that's what it's going to take. If you want to go on vacation, you want to eat at restaurants, and you want to have a newer car, and you want to buy newer furniture, and you want to live in a decent place and rent a newer style apartment, you're going to be paycheck to paycheck, unless you just have a really, really great income. But if you have an average income and your lifestyle is, basically you want to have kind of nicer things, you're not going to be able to get away from living paycheck to paycheck, and you're probably never going to own anything. So that would be my advice to people, is to, try to be more of a minimalist. Try to save what you do earn, even if you don't earn a lot. It's like, where can I cut out some of the expenses? I think everyone should still have fun and still do the stuff they want to do. But if you have a goal of wanting to be into the asset class of society, it's going to require a lot of sacrifice, or you're going to have to make a absolutely killer income. If you're making $200,000, $300,000 a year, you can afford to do, you can still have fun and afford a nicer place and eat at restaurants and go on vacations and do all that stuff, and you'll still have enough money to save for retirement and probably put aside for a house and all that stuff. But if you're making $100,000 or around $100,000 in a lot of areas in the country, and a lot of people make way less than $100,000, it's going to be a little bit difficult after taxes and after just the basic expenses of existing. You're going to be you're going to be stretched pretty thin. And that's why I'm not that surprised when it says like 75% of people are paycheck to paycheck, because they don't adequately budget for anything. And then they pretty much spend such a high percentage, or 100% of what they earn. And a lot of people are in credit card debt, so they're actually spending more than they earn. So the consumer's got to change their tastes. They have to, if they have a goal of wanting to get ahead, they have to really, really cut back on a lot of the discretionary expenses and try to drive an older car. Try to, minimize going out and spending all this money on stuff that just, you don't get any value from it. It's just, you can eat cheaper. You can buy not as expensive clothes. You can potentially lower the type of insurance that you have that you don't need. There's things like that you can do where you can save money. So you guys let me know what you think on it, and you can subscribe if you want. Driving the $900 Saturn around, and gonna go to the gym. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Well, he's pointing out something a lot of people are aware of. The thing is, talking about it and acknowledging it are not the same as doing it. It's like, you have a weight problem, but your fat ass doesn't want to get up and exercise. I have that. I'm using that as just an example. And now, with diabetes, it's harder to exercise now that I'm sick. So even if I want to exercise, it's harder to actually exercise because I'm sick. So now I have to be more cautious. I have to be careful. And that's that. That's what I have to do. I don't have a choice. I have to be very careful and just play it by ear, as they say. Yeah. Anyway, that's a good video.
Trade futures.
I'd trade futures if I had freaking money. I would be trading right now. All right. So this guy is Ace the OG. Why rich people don't help poor people. Let's find out.
What up, what up? It's Ace OG. Back into the topic, back into the video. So the title of this video is going to be why rich people don't help poor people. So admin notes, thanks again to all subscribe to the channel. I endeavor to keep pushing the video out. Give you leverage, you better yourselves. So let's get into it. So why do I say that, or why is it that rich people don't help poor people? So there's a couple of reasons. But I'm gonna give some of the reasons why I believe why rich people don't help poor people. And this is not all rich people, because you have a lot of rich folks that are philanthropists, meaning that they actually give money to charities, and they give money out to organizations and stuff to help them out, because they understand that some organizations and some facilities need the help. And because they have the money and they have the resources and it's not going to hurt their pockets, they give the money away. For multi-rich, mega-rich folks like Elon Musk, who is it? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and some of these other folks. Like, they are constantly giving out to charity, because, like, can you really spend all this money in one lifetime? No. And this is how rich some of these folks are. But folks that I would say that's not necessarily rich, but folks that are well off, meaning they're making multiple six figures a year. They have investments. They may have a household where it's two people that work in, and they're putting their money together, and they're building legacy. They're building a lot of financial security for themselves. A lot of folks that are in that space don't like to help poor people. And the reason being, one of the main reasons is because a lot of poor people have a mindset where they're going to stay poor. And it's like, it doesn't matter how much money you give them, it doesn't matter how much money they borrow from you, they're going to always keep asking for more, over and over and over again. And I've ran into this a lot of times in my journey, as far as trying to build wealth, trying to build legacy for my family and for myself as well. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm rich, because I'm not going to say that at all, because I'm not rich by any means. However, I have put myself in position to where I don't have to worry about bills. And there are a lot of folks out here right now that are probably watching this video right now, they are concerned about bills. Every single month the bills come up. And you don't have to be rich, nor for you to be in a space where you don't have to worry about bills. I'm gonna say that again. You don't have to be rich, nor for you to be in a position to where you don't have to worry about bills. It's all about money management. It's all about building your skill set and being able to go out there and find jobs that are able to sustain you and your family, right? And it's not that hard. Now, I do understand a lot of folks that come up here and say it's 2024, the job market is cooked, and I may make a video about that too. The job market is cooked. A lot of folks are going to come up here and argue like there's no jobs out here. The economy is horrible. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that comes with that. Like for my personal experience, right? So, and I'm talking to all generations. I'm talking about to baby boomers, all the way to Gen Z. The job's out here. The problem is that a lot of folks don't want to put the work in to get the jobs. They don't want to put the work in to get the skill set to have that job that's going to pay them a lot of money. And also, there's some folks out here that don't need to have a job. They just need to work for themselves, right? And if you have the mindset to work for yourself, then you have to have some motivation for that. But getting back to the topics for like why rich folks don't help poor people, it's really a mindset. It really is. And even though I'm not gonna claim myself as being rich, I do have a rich mindset, because, like I said, I have enough funding, and I know how to manage my money to the point where I don't have to worry about bills. I don't have to worry about my kids going to school and paying for school clothes, paying for food. My daughter goes to private school, and private school is not cheap, especially in Northern Virginia. It's not cheap at all, right? But I want her to have the best education as possible, and I pay for that private school because I'm able to pay for it, and I don't have to worry about paying for her tuition. I don't have to worry about paying for her clothes, for school, her books, all of that. And I'm the only one working in the house. I'm the breadwinner, not my wife, not anybody else, only me. So, when people get to a space in their lives where they have accumulated a certain amount of wealth, it's not that they don't want to part with it. It's that they understand that, if the person that they're giving the money to has not changed their mindset, then basically you turn into a bank for these folks. How many folks on this video right now can relate to where their family member saw they had money, right? Talking to yourself, they know you have money, they ask you for money, they take their sweet time to pay you back, and then once they finally pay you back, they're going to ask for more money even more the next time they ask for money. You got family members and folks out there and friends out there that are going to keep asking for money over and over and over again. And how are you going to sustain your own wealth when you're constantly giving money out? It gets annoying after a while. And it gets to the point where, basically it's almost to the point where you got to change your circle of friends. I know for myself, my circle of people that I hang around with is not the same circle I was around when I was broke. And it was a organic situation, meaning that it wasn't that I tried to seek out people that had money like me, is that I naturally gravitated to these folks because the more income that I made and the more skill set that I built, meaning finishing my college degree. I have 2 college degrees. I have a bachelor's and an associate's. I have 3 IT certifications. One of the certifications costs $2,000 a test to take, right? I have over 20 years of experience in IT. So my skill set is huge. So it benefits companies to hire me. It just does. When you put yourself in a space where it benefits somebody else, right? For them to hire you, for them to receive knowledge from you, then you put yourself in a very great space, and meaning that even though you may not be rich on paper, you're rich because you put yourself in a space where you're comfortable. You're well off. You're living comfortably. You're not struggling. Once again, you don't have to be monetarily rich. You don't have to have a whole bunch of money in the bank for you to live a prosperous life. You don't. And like I said, like for me, I can't go out to a dealership right now and buy the Range Rover that I want. There's a hot Range Rover out right now. I saw that jump. It's black on black. Jump was beautiful. But I don't have the money to go out there and buy that Range Rover. I just don't, right? Even though I'm the only one working in a six family household, I can't go out there right now and buy the Range Rover that I want. Meaning, and that's one of the main reasons why I say I'm not a rich person. However, I have enough resources and enough money to where I'm able to sustain the household on my own, with my own money, taking care of my wife, my 3 kids, and a mother-in-law that's sick, that's in a wheelchair. That's not being rich, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to save money, right? But I'm not able to go out and do what I want to do all the time. And I put restrictions on myself because that's what keeps me in a space to where I can keep money flowing instead of money coming out of my pocket. And when it comes to poor people don't understand that concept. They don't understand the concept of how to save money and how to manage money. And that's probably one of the reasons why they're poor in the first place. It's probably one of the reasons why they're coming to you to ask for your resources instead of them trying to build themselves up and try to create their own resources. I'm telling you, y'all, and it's real. And I'm not saying this to downgrade poor people. I'm not saying this to downgrade broke people. I'm not saying that this at all. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in that space one time before in my life. I really was. And, God could put me back in that situation as well at any given time. So I'm always humble for what God has done for me. I'm always humble for what people have done for me. Because I didn't attain this status on my own. I had help. I really did. Whether it be mentors, whether it be family members, friends, all these things. I'm not a product of my own doing, right? I actually, I had the motivation to be better, but I had help along the way. I really did. But, I'm telling you, when you get to a certain financial status and you become rich or you become well off, your circle of friends and your circle of people has to change to a certain degree. I'm not saying for you to cut family off. I'm not saying for you to cut friends off. But poor people are going to bring you down to a certain degree. And what I mean by that is that they're going to always pull on you because you're the one that's at a higher financial space than they are. And you can't bring everybody with you. You just can't. It's a horrible thing to say, and it's a triggering thing to say to some folks. But I'm telling you right now, in order for me to stay the status that I am right now, I don't hang around a lot of people that are not in the same tax brackets as me. I just don't, right? And I mean, 90% of my family members are not in the same tax bracket, but I love them, and I still hang out with them, and I still do things with them. But I will say that, that I do have family members that actually will ask for money, and I have to tell them no, because I already know what they're gonna do with the money. They have created a pattern where I already know what's what. You got a job, you have money, so how is it that you already broke and you just got paid 2 days ago? That's a poor man's mentality. That's a poor woman's mentality. And if you're rich folks don't want to deal with that type of stuff. It's just human nature. If you got to a certain status in your life where you're leveling off and you're in a good financial space, you're in a good mental space, why would you intentionally go out and actually seek somebody that is not in the same space as you are, right? And it can make you depressed and it can make you lose money. Just making sense, right? So those are some of the reasons why I believe, personally, on personal experience, why rich people don't hang or don't deal with poor people. And there's some other reasons as well. It really is. But at the end of the day, if you put yourself up financially, you have to really, 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 really take a deep dive. You have to really reassess who you hang out with and where your space and what kind of space you're in, and just make it a personal decision. What you're gonna do about it, right? And I know for myself, I don't despise and I don't say anything bad about poor people or broke people, but at the end of the day, it's just a space that I'm not in right now, and even though I can relate, I'm not gonna put myself in a situation to where I'm gonna lose money because I'm hanging around in a certain space that they don't understand how to build wealth. That's the reason why I made this channel, to actually help people to better themselves and to build wealth. I talked about wealth the whole first year I was on this channel, and I can always relate back to that video I did about a week ago where black folks are here for the BS. But anyways, I'm not gonna go off a tangent. So you want me to discuss a topic or something you think it benefits your channel? Email me at findingfitnessfolk@gmail.com. My email address is below. This ain't So G, signing out. I'm gone.
Yeah, rich people, they've been around the block, guys. Rich people don't want to hear anything, man. They don't want to hear about your problems. If they do, they're just being nice and entertaining you because they're just trying to be nice. In reality, they don't have the luxury of giving a shit about other people's problems. They have their own families to consider. They don't have time for you and your fucking problems. If you have a medical issue, go to the fucking doctor. That's what he's paid for. You don't go talk to some rich guy who, trying to get some scratch out of him. They really don't like that. If you start doing shit like that with wealthy people, they're going to consider you a fucking issue, man. They're going to say, well, this guy comes around, but he only comes around when he wants money or resource, And I felt sorry for people, and that's why I let them into my life. But my instincts always kicked off. And I said to myself, you know what? These people are not human. They're pets. Just like my cats. My cats can't work a job. They can't work a job. They don't know how to work a job or what a job is. They don't know what money is. So I have to pay for them. And that's what these people turn into. They turn into your little pets. And you don't want any pets like that. They're just going to be taking. and they give you back nothing but bullshit excuses. That's why even if they agree to, pay half the rent, if they get sick or they have problems, it's going to be your problem. Their problems become your problem. That's another reason wealthy people and people in general really don't like to bother with poor people that are always asking for money or looking for a handout. People don't like that. People who they spent their lives sacrificing to earn the wealth that they have don't like to give it away to some guy who refused to do more than high school or made some bad mistakes. I mean, people can just make bad mistakes. I made some bad mistakes, and that's why I wound up in this situation. I let too many spirits and too many influences get to me that I had no business even listening to, because they're just they're worthless. I mean, they're there to distract you and to destroy your future, and if you let them, they will. And that's what happened to me. My future is destroyed simply because I let my mom and other things, not just Mommy Dearest, influence me in a very bad fashion. So that's why I don't play that fucking game anymore where I'm here to save the fucking world. I'm sorry, but the world doesn't give a shit about you. And I hate to be cruel, I really do, but sometimes you gotta be cold and just say, you know what? I can't carry you. I can't carry you. I can't be paying for you and myself and all my cats. And you just gotta ask them to leave. Because you just can't afford it. Sometimes you find these people out there that they had bad luck, and that's terrible. It's fucking shitty. But you know what? There's people out there that they fucked up and they don't want to pay. They want you to pay for them fucking up their lives, They want you to pay for them making critical mistakes. Okay? You okay, baby boy? My baby boy's going out. Alright, let's play another video. Let's see what we got, and I'll go take care of baby boy. Because baby boy can't work a job. He doesn't know what money is, and he's a cat. Let's see.
Alright, so listen.
Alright, so let's do this right here. Nothing has been the same since 2020. The young man says we're in weird times. Alright, this is Legion of Men. I love this guy. This cool guy. And we'll start this off right here. I'll be right back.
Seems that I'm not the only one noticing these weird things going on after the pandemic. Apparently, it feels like we're in an alternate universe, but this guy here, he's only got 5,000 subs, Alter Ego Sean. It says, nothing has been the same since 2020. Weird times we're in. Let's see what he's noticed.
What's good with y'all? Alter Ego Sean. Hope y'all doing well. Tapped in. I advise y'all to start taking walks too. Really good for your mental, but the video today is about
excellent.
Things have not been the same since 2020. You look at any aspect of life. You look at working. We all work, You look at relationships. We all have different relationships. You look at the future. Just being optimistic about your future. Nothing has really seemed the same. And I don't know why that is exactly. I think something that has to do with it is we all were able to, for at least a half a year, sit at home every day and kind of see, man, like, I'm working my life away. Man, I really don't see my family as much as I should. Man, bro, I think so many people came to the realization of so many different things during that can I say, I'm not going to try it, but during 2020, when we had to kind of just be away from everyone. And it's crazy because 4 years later, nothing really seems the same.
Culture shifted dramatically, by the way. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the bar scene, the club scene, none of that stuff I don't see the same lines that people used to have. All the establishments seem empty. There's nobody at restaurants anymore. The last time when I was in Phoenix, something like December, a year ago, I couldn't believe how empty the city was. Phoenix, if you don't know, is a city that's really busy in the wintertime because of all the snowbirds is what we call them. In the United States, basically everybody's escaping the harsh winters of the Northeast or Northwest, middle America, and they come down to vacation in Phoenix where it's like 70 degrees. It's absolutely perfect. Literally, it's perfect weather. A dry 70 while everybody's getting snowed in. You're in shorts. Dead. The last time I was there, dead. All establishments, dead. Nobody walking the streets. I don't know what happened. Combination of the narrative that got pushed. We got radicalized in our positions of who was wearing a mask, who wasn't. Got demonized if you weren't wearing your mask or you decided to opt out of injections or, it like put families at odds with each other because, the media made it seem like it was life or death. Like if you don't get this done, you're endangering my health. If you don't fall in line, you're a radical anti X, Y, and Z. That shattered a bunch of family dynamic. People have never been the same since. And unfortunately, it has altered American culture permanently in a way that I don't know if we're ever going to recover from it, at least not the generations that have lived through it. People don't trust each other anymore. People don't trust the government anymore because of what's happened since the pandemic. All the information that has come out, people feel betrayed. And this hermit lifestyle has kind of picked up since then. Not only that, but the economy is no longer the same. I don't know. It feels like a charade, like we're living in a house of cards and it's all about to fall. Let me see.
And I don't think people really talk about it. We're in another pandemic right now where people just don't want to work. And people want to say it's Gen Z or it's just younger people. It's older people who don't want to work too. It's older people who are tired of being sick and tired, and it's kind of leaving everyone with the question of what now?
Right,
well, what do I do now? I know this isn't what I want to do.
Oof.
What do I want to do now? In dating, I don't know if y'all are married, y'all have been with someone for a while. Dating has not been the same since 2020. Now, a lot of that has to do with where we're at socially, just men and women. It's like we're on two completely different spectrums, but pre-2020, dating was normal, bro. You could look at someone and be like, I can see a future with them. You can't do that anymore. The future, I want you to honestly think. Now, I'm in a different boat. I am pretty optimistic about my future, but when you think about life, do you really think 5 years from now? It's like something weird where you can't even really think long term because it's almost like I don't even know what will happen by then.
This is the psychological damage from locking people in their homes perpetually in some places for upwards of 2 years, promising them that you would solve the problem that we were all undergoing with some magical cure that ended up not being magical at all. Actually, with the latest information coming out, may be a detriment to quite a few people. We've lost trust in our institutions, man. We used to think these three-letter agencies, WHO, CIA, FBI, DHS, all these little institutions, DEA, FDA, that they're all on our side and have our best interest at heart. And sure, they don't move as fast as we want them to. It's like molasses with all the bureaucratic red tape, but overall, they got the people's back. They're doing the best that they can. Government's so large today, it's a slow-moving machine, but justice will be served. No, that facade has completely dropped from everybody's eyes, seeing how we were treated during those lockdowns, seeing the rights being stripped away from multiple, people in multiple countries, how the governments have utilized that as a power grab. And still, some governments are under the emergency ordinance acts that they've instituted just because of the powers that it's given them. And, you give away an inch of power, you're never going to get that back. They just have to get a taste of those emergency articles that, give them this top-down ability to rule over you. So, I don't know, man. When you factor in all that stuff, yeah, the culture has changed completely. We've turned on each other. The media made us turn on each other. We don't trust the government, and we don't trust one another, and we were emboldened in our positions, and they told you that it was life or death. Like I said earlier, literally they said, like, if you don't do this, you are responsible for the death of I don't know how many people potentially. That's crazy rhetoric to be happening in a country at a time where we're all uncertain, and we're pushing drugs at light speed without them being properly tested. We have protocols that these drugs take years to develop. You know, the average one, 3 to 5 years, something like, don't quote me on that, but it's something that I read, like 3 to 5 years going through the pipeline properly. We did it in less than one, something of that nature. It's insane. We demonized other drugs that were working just fine, that at the time were considered, oh my God, you're a conspiracy theorist for taking this paste, whatever they were labeling them. I don't know, dude. So, and then, you know, we're talking about the dating thing, what it's like for young men, young women. I mean, that was the largest upward transfer of wealth that we've ever witnessed. So let's talk about the economics of shutting down the country, where only a few select businesses were allowed to stay open, mostly multinational corporations. Surprise to nobody. But all the mom and pop stores, those all were gone. All the little mom and pop restaurants that were, you know, the local business owners, they got absolutely crushed. So many restaurants I used to love going to had gone under completely. All those little stores that I used to visit completely gone under. Now all that's left is corporation. What do you think that did to the middle class of America? It shrunk dramatically. And we printed so much money out of that whole pandemic that, you know, now we're paying for it with inflation. Can't afford to buy a house. Your job or your business got destroyed. In America, they only offered us, what, like $1,400 was the first payment, or $2,000, whatever the fuck it was. We're supposed to last on that for the entire time some of these states were shut down. How, man? I don't know. That did something to the psyche of a lot of people. Planning 5 years, 10 years down the road is hard when you're trying to make ends meet next month, the end of the month. How am I going to make bills the end of the month? Who has time to think in the next 5 years when this is happening right now? Optimistic about the future? Not for many people. Not the ones that got crushed for COVID. How many millions of Americans are still trying to recover after basically the largest, you know, upward transfer of wealth? And they were directly involved in the scheme that had seen their retirement, their assets, everything that they've ever worked for, their businesses completely be ripped away from them for a government initiative. Wow.
It's like, it's hard to think about a future if you don't think the world has one. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't see. Like, it will be 2025 in a couple months. In 5 years, we'll be in 2029, and it'll almost be. But basically, in 5 years, it'll be 2030. Do you guys really see a world in 2030? Like, can you look 5 years from now and be like, this is where I'll be, or this is where the world will be? Or I can't, you know. Maybe I'm that way because, like, the past year, I've kind of seen you can plan all you want, but really you don't have any say at the end of the day. You know, you can plan to be somewhere in a year, but you don't really have any control of that. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. How do you know what's going to happen a year from now?
Yep.
What I'm saying is more so, I can't even picture a world in 2030. You know?
Yeah.
I remember I was in high school and I could picture myself when I was 25. I could picture myself when I was 21, you know?
But talking about the future, dude, look how much uncertainty we have just around the election. I want to show you guys something. This is nuts. So I have this community post up, and it says, you're not voting your way out of this. And this is the U.S. national debt from 1900 to 2020. Look at this graph, by the way. This is the U.S. national debt. In 1970, around the gold standard, where we got off of it, look at the debt ballooning. We're a debt-driven economy. Look at this. Look, and it shoots up. What they don't show you at the end of this graph is that it has gone up another $10 trillion in the short 4-year span here. It took us to do 10 trillion. It took us from, what is that, 2010 to 2020. Sheesh. And we've eclipsed that in less than 4 years. Yeah. So our debt is ballooning up at a...
The question is, where did all that money go? Because I didn't get it. You see? They took out loans, PPL loans, for millions of dollars to corporations. We're not going to get that money back. Those loans were all forgiven. From what I understand, they were all just basically given free money. The stimulus money went out and it was spent. There are people making TikToks where they're waving the money around, laughing their ass off.
Uncontrollable, unsustainable rate.
Everything
People
they
are already
did is
sounding
fucked.
alarms in the finance sector, but again, if you're a young man and you're seeing your nation debt balloon to this level, you're watching everybody barely afford to make it month in and month out. Average American doesn't have $400 in the bank account for an emergency. People can hardly afford to pay their car notes anymore. Like record levels of default happening. People can't afford, they've been priced out of buying a house and are being priced out of rent now because it's gotten out of control as well. Where do you see a future if this is what's happening when you're looking all around you?
When I was 18, I could picture a world 5 years. Like, I can't do that anymore. Like, I have no idea where I'll be when I'm 31. And it's only been that way since after 2020, bro. We're living in such weird times. Like, just think, man.
Shit.
These times are so weird. We just had the presidential election last night. And it was almost like I want to be optimistic about the future, but we're living in such weird times. It's almost like we have to be realistic at the same time. Like, I want y'all to think about something. All right. It wasn't maybe 2 months ago Donald Trump was almost assassinated? Who talks about that?
Nobody.
Have you heard anyone talk about that?
Nobody cares.
It's like it happened and then a week later we forgot about it. That's how odd times we're living in, where a former president of the United States was almost assassinated. Like, bro, like, skimmed him. Like a millimeter to the right. He's dead. And it's like we just forgot about it a week later. Like, we're living in very bizarre times.
Yeah, people don't give a shit.
It's not bizarre if you know why it's happening. It's not an accident that got memory hold, and the mainstream media is moving in lockstep in a certain direction. So none of this is an accident. It's social engineering.
Yeah, social engineering is an
where we literally forget what happened last week.
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing last week?
You only forget, though, if it's inconvenient to a certain side. But if it's convenient for them, you'll never hear the end of said situation. That's the issue.
And I can honestly say, like truly, I believe it's been this way since 2020. Like, these times are so weird. You know, people are working in I think a lot of people would love to think, oh, well, it's just because it's just financial times and it's really hard. And I get that, you know, people are struggling financially and it's hard to kind of plan for the future, or, you know, even plan next week when you don't know when your next meal is going to be. So I get that. But it's more than that. It's more than just about money. It's more than just about your 9 to 5. People don't even want relationships anymore. And I'm not talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about relationships, period. People don't have friends anymore. People don't talk to each other. People don't care about each other. People don't. It's like we're all
way too fucking true.
Culture raw, dude.
Bro, like,
no one has a stake in the system. We can't own anything. How can you feel like a communal aspect to society when you can't afford land? That was one of the strongest motivators for men to build out their communities, is having a stake in owning land. And then you get together with all the other men and you build a safe society for your women, for your children, the rest of your families. We have none of that anymore. There's no point to participate in the system for young men today. They don't have any good jobs. They can't afford the American dream anymore. All their jobs were shipped overseas. Whatever's left in the communities or universities, that's teaching them is a bunch of useless shit that they can't use and land no job because they need more experience than they could possibly have for an entry-level position. And the pay is shit, and the companies don't reward you for being loyal loyal. You're not being a good man today is just not rewarded on a societal level. So most men choose to just opt out because they don't want to be evil men. They don't have the heart to screw people over to get ahead, and they rather just not participate. Society forgets about them anyway. And then there's an overarching message that you're a predator, you're a patriarchal pig, you benefit from this so-called broken system that's not offering you anything, and that you're somehow oppressing women, and like all the negative attributes they assign masculinity and call it toxic. These, umbrella terms to make you feel bad about simply existing as a man in the world today. It's so fucked. Only in the West too will you feel that.
It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
We are naturally social creatures. Even if you're an introvert or you don't really go out much, you need to be social. You need to talk to people. So it's just such weird times where we I don't even know. We have all these depressed people. We have all these people who feel so alone. And was it like this before 2020? It wasn't. I remember getting together with the guys and just going and hooping. I remember going on late night drives and just talking about life, And yeah, I was younger, but as you get older, it's not like people change. As you get older, it's not like our human nature changes. We've been the same, we've had the same human nature since the beginning of time. So it's just weird because nothing has been the same. Shout out to Drake, man. Nothing.
This guy commented, we're not even eating real food. Jeez. The government showed you that they can take your job and lock you in your home, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. Your neighbor showed you that if the government tells them that you're the enemy, that they will turn on you without hesitation. Your doctor showed you that they're willing to let you suffer harm and possibly die to protect their license and livelihood. Life has become uncertain because many of the illusions of safety that we all shared have been shattered, succinctly put. People don't want friends. They don't want deep connections. They want their phones and fake interactions. That's just a cope. People want all those things, but it's what the guy wrote right above him that's causing people to regress into themselves, and not in a good way. It's just distracting yourself from the fact that everything feels fake. The charade has fallen all around you. Because people don't want to work because we have hopelessness. You can't retire, own a home, be left in peace for traditional beliefs, attacked by social media for anything not woke. Corporations own everything. Media gaslights you from both sides. That stuff takes a toll, brother. Indeed. Says you're not wrong. I'm 42-year-old stay-at-home mom in the suburbs. I noticed every single thing you said for myself. I say to my husband, there's been a shift. You don't feel it? I don't know how to describe it better than you have. I have the same thoughts about the attempted assassination. No one wants to be friends. I can't picture the world in 10 years where we're going. Everything feels fake. It says prices on everything jumped 40 to 50% in a short 3-year period. It took 40 to 50 years to gradually raise prices this much. Think about that. Haha, excellent. We'll end it with the George Orwell. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right. God, 1984 is incredible. More applicable in the world today than any other book, probably. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, give the guy a like and a subscribe. His name's Alter Ego Sean. Small channel. Appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. Guys that have joined the private community, looking forward to our next call on Monday. Appreciate it.
It's Alter Ego Sean. Let's see if we can get him.
Everybody that's been doing the consults and buying shirts, man, helps the channel directly, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Links are all in the description, guys, if you're interested. Take care, everybody. It took 40 to 50 years to gradually raise book, probably. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, give the guy a like and a subscribe. His name's Artie, is always right. God, 1980.
You look at any aspect.
Nothing has been the same since 20.
Okay, that's the name of the video. I'm trying to match the video with this one, Alter Ego Sean, but I don't see a video with 2020 in it. Let me do a search for 2020. I want to make sure this is the right kid. I want to subscribe to somebody that... nothing has been the same since 2020. Oh, this was done 13 days ago. So he's kicking. That's the right kid. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, let's see another one, Mr. Sean here. Alright, latest one. Life goes by too fast for you not to chase your dreams.
Yo, what's good, y'all? Here you go, Sean. Hope y'all doing well. So a week ago, I posted a video on time about how fast time was going, right? And I said, in a week, think back to this video I'm posting and think about how fast that week just went. We're already a week. It already happened. I just posted it. A whole week just went by, right? And in the video, I think I posted it on a Monday. I could be wrong, but it's already Wednesday. It's already Wednesday when I'm posting this. And my point is life goes by too fast for you not to chase your dream. Time goes by too fast for you not to chase your dreams. Just think, right? If someone watched that video and that day they started like working on something, like going to the gym, anything, that could be a whole week you progressed to whatever you're trying to accomplish. Like, just think, right? If you started today, in a week, you're 1 week closer to accomplishing what you want to accomplish. So all this procrastinating and all this, oh, it's not the right time, this, that, the third. Bro, start right now. Or sis, start right now, please. Bro, our lives go by so fast. So fast, man. Especially nowadays, like, with all this stuff going on. I think I'm gonna do a video on this, but I saw this thing, right? It was a video, an old video of this like professor or something, and he was saying, you know, the first however many years it seemed like time was going, like before people were even here, he was saying it seems like it took forever. It seems like time was a lot slower. Even earlier on, when people first got here, it seems like time, like you could even say like the early 90s, it seems like time was slower. But he was saying nowadays, because we have so many things going on in one day, we have so many events that happen in one day, he was saying basically it seems like time is sped up. That was what he thought. Now, I thought it was interesting because it's like, I mean, like, think about it. Like, you got to fit in working a 9 to 5 and then everything else all in one day. You know, you got to fit going to the gym or going on a walk or spending time with your family or making dinner or meal prep. Bro, like, there's so many things we have to fit in one day. So, yeah, it would make sense that time just flies by. So, knowing that, I feel like that would be even more motivation of like, well, like, if I just start now, where could I be in 6 months? Where could I be in 6 months? Because 6 months is going to be here before I know it. Before you know it, bro, it's going to be Christmas. September is gone. Where did September go? Look at my YouTube channel. When September started, I said I'm gonna post a video every single day. Every single day. And I said I was gonna post multiple videos a day. A whole month of progress, because I said I'm going to do it every day. I'm going to work every day. I could have gained 1 subscriber a day. I'm 1 subscriber close to what I'm trying to accomplish in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like, this time goes by so fast. Where did September go? It's gonna be October. It's gonna be Halloween. Then it's gonna be Thanksgiving. Then it's gonna be Christmas. You already know they're gonna put the Christmas stuff out as soon as Bro, they gonna put it out literally October 15th, bro. Like, they don't even wait till Halloween nowadays to put it out. But just think where you could be at when Christmas comes. Just think where you could be. You could be a totally different person. Think about, like, all my people who have those aspirations to, like, lose weight and stuff. Think about where you could be in 3 months of work. 3 months of eating more healthy. 3 months of hitting the gym 3-4 times a week. You know what I'm saying?
Me and my diabetic
I just started
ass.
taking 20,000 steps a day, right?
Dude.
Last week I started taking 10,000. And then this week I was like, why not 20,000? Like, if I'm trying to see progress, you know, in different things in my body, why wouldn't I go more ham? You know, like, why wouldn't I put in more work? Because I know the time's going to pass by. I know a month is, I already know, bro. September's going to end. I already know October going to fly too. So I might as well put in the work now because I'll see the progress. I'll see the results. Bro, it's like, sometimes I feel like it's so hard to, it's hard to get people to understand you because it seems so simple in my mind sometimes. I know it's a lot harder than just do it. Like, I know that's the case because I procrastinate. I'm a procrastinator myself, and I've procrastinated a lot throughout my life. But now that I have a different outlook on things about why put it off, you know what I'm saying? I try to help other people see those things as well. But yeah, man, this time is just, it's fleeting, you know. Like it says in the Bible, it talks about our fleeting life, bro. Like we only have one life. You have one life. You're not a cat, bro. You don't have 9 lives, and even then, it's like you have one life. You might as well live it to the fullest. And what I mean when I say live it to the fullest, I mean become the best version of you can be. I'm not talking about going out partying every weekend. I'm not talking about getting high all the time. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about becoming the best version of you. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly feel like when you're working towards that, your life gets more and more easy. You know, people treat you differently when they see you're on your purpose. People look at you differently when they say, oh, like he's different. She's different. They carry themselves in a way where they value their life. As crazy as it sounds, bro, a lot of us don't even value our lives. Like, people don't even value their life nowadays. People just go through the motions, bro. They go through the motions of life, not liking what they're doing, and they don't want to change it. A lot of people are like that. You have all the power. I have all the power. We have all the power. There's nothing that stops us. There's obstacles, but that's not stopping you. You know? Like, you might, like, say I had social anxiety, right? And I wanted to be a YouTuber. My social anxiety is not stopping, man. I just lost storage, but my social anxiety wouldn't stop me from being a YouTuber. It would just be an obstacle I have to get over. You know what I'm saying? Life is just obstacles. It's nothing stopping you. You know, it's no, like, just think, right? I, like, the other week, they're doing road work where I live, and they had these signs up that said do not enter, right? And it was nighttime, and I was like, I am not trying to take an extra 15 minutes to go all the way around this whole city when it literally can take me 2 minutes to get where I'm trying to go, right? You know, so I was like, let me see, like is this roadblock here because it's actually, like, dangerous? You know, I feel like if it's dangerous, I can see it with my eyes. Or is it just here because they just don't want people going through? And even then, I know it's a whole neighborhood just right there past it, so how do they get out? You know what I'm saying? So I went past the roadblock, and I saw what I had to see, and it was safe, so I went. You know, so all of a sudden, my trip, instead of being 15 minutes, was 2. That's what life is like. Sometimes y'all think y'all have different roadblocks blocking y'all from doing things where it takes you 15 years to accomplish something you could have accomplished in 2. It took me a good 5 years to start grinding towards things I wanted, because I thought things had to be a certain way and they had to be just right. Where could I have been in 5 years now? If I would have started when I was 21, where could I have been now? You know? But we think that, you know, we have different roadblocks we think are stopping us, you know, and it's not. You know, you might have to go around it. But I'm not going to go on too much longer. Let me know what y'all think, man. Time goes by so fast. Like, you might as well, like, what else is there to do? You might as well chase a dream. You might as well chase a goal. But let me know what y'all think. Alter Ego Sean, I'm out.
It's not, how can I put this? It's a deep kid. This kid's deep. You know what I mean? He's deep. And the deeper they go, the more complicated they are. Sometimes the harder it is to understand them, right? Despite your intelligence. Sometimes they're just so deep they got the insight. So I started my career when I graduated, and I got nothing but rejections, excuses. I made too many really bad mistakes that I didn't correct until it was way too late. And my career went nowhere. Nobody would hire because nobody would hire. In other words, because I didn't get hired before, they wouldn't hire me then. Or I was hired a year ago to do that job. Well, why should we hire you now? It's been a year. You haven't worked in this field for a year. I mean, why should we hire you now? That's the kind of mentality. They want fresh. They want hot. They want the in. They want to be told everything they need to hear. You have to lie to these people like a dog. And I said this. You want to be a professional, you have to lie like a dog. If you don't lie, if you're an honest person, don't waste your time with profession. Unless it's a trade. A trade maybe, but not this shit. Not computer programming and all that. That's only for people that they consider experts. So, yeah, I mean, I gave it. I have my bachelor's degree. It's not a theory; it's a real thing. And I could tell you, it didn't do me any good with these people. What good was an education, even a formal education like that one, when I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who are dead set in making damn sure that every excuse not to hire, every reason not to hire is explored and executed. You see what I'm saying? They wanted to make sure that there was an excuse not to hire me. It wasn't about, well, why should we hire you? Why should we hire you? I mean, let's look at what you can do. Let's look at all your skills. All right, awesome. You could do this, you could do this, you could do this. No, they said, this doesn't match what we're looking for. Or, you know, you don't have enough experience. You don't have the right skill for this. You know, that also was an excuse. And after a while, you're like, well, it looks like I'm living in a world of excuses. You know? So this is going to be the breeding area, this area here. So I'm going to be breeding the raptors. I'm going to see if I can do raptors. Because, like I said, I have a very good saddle. 400-point saddle is nothing to laugh at. I can just get a good raptor thing going. Thing is, I don't have a lot of good raptors. I need better raptors. That Carnal Island doesn't give me a lot of good raptors. And they're supposed to be everywhere. You know, they're just shitty levels. Anyway, he's right in the sense that, you know, if I started my career and after, like, I think it was 4 or 5 years, nobody would hire after 4 or 5 years. of me trying to put my resume out there and going to interviews, nobody would hire. They wouldn't. And I had to give up the dream of being a technical professional. I went to college for fucking nothing. I went and I learned computer programming and all these basic skills, and I wasn't good enough for these people, and they hired somebody else. They hired their friends, they hired their relatives. I don't know what they did. Most of the time, they don't tell you why they didn't hire you. They just say they found a better match for what they're looking for, and that's pretty much it. They honestly don't care. So that's why when it comes to business, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're young and you're actually taking the time to listen, I'm telling you, the better liar you are, the more money you'll make. The more you fake people out and just tell them what they need to hear, and, don't have any real respect for them, you treat them like shit for a reason, then yeah, you'll get hired. They'll love you. They will love your ass. So what I would recommend is that, it sounds kind of cruel. I think I'm going to put the hatching area here and see if I can put the hatchery right here on this side. And then here will be the breeding area. But anyway, I would recommend that if you think you're going to be a professional, go hang around people who are already professionals and get insights into what to look, see if you can get anything, any kind of reference or any advice. But I can tell you, even if I knew everything in all the books I ever read and all the books I ever bought that I didn't read, I can tell you it would have been the same answer. Because they're looking at your experience in a certain skill set, and they want to have references. And it's hard to build a career when people keep giving you no opportunity to prove yourself. I will never trust any formal education again. There are people who built businesses from scratch and they didn't even know how to run a business. They just copied what somebody else had already built, and they built on top of it. And then they went and they got themselves their education on the side. But that's business. Business, you don't need a degree to start a business. I can go start a business right now. But the question is, do I want to deal with that paperwork? Do I want to deal with those taxes? You have to have, a tax attorney in some cases. If I invest as a personal person, then I pay taxes regular. But the other way, they're trying to get tax deductions to pay less taxes. That's why you do it the business way, to save money on taxes. But do I want to bother with the paperwork? Is it worth it? Is it really worth it? And the answer is no. So anyway, I had a bad life. I had bad experiences. Somebody else could go in there, nice, young, bright-eyed kid, and impress them. And maybe they'll like you, and maybe they'll give you a chance. But there's no guarantees in life. I took a chance that my bachelor's degree carried weight. And it does, but not as much as they'd like. It doesn't mean as much as they'd like. It doesn't mean as much as I thought it did. Honestly. I'm just being honest. It was cruel what happened. All that hopes and dreams and believing and trusting and all this stuff. And in the end, it's like, do I know you? Is there something you need? It's like, they don't know who you are, nothing. It's like, really? You don't know who I am, huh? You don't acknowledge me and my skill? Shit, So after a while, I could understand the bitterness and the resentment of people, just not giving a fuck after a while because it's just that bad. Oh, that's the wrong one. Start storing stuff in here. I think those other smaller containers are pretty much full up here. Yeah. Let's just put it in here. Not a big deal. I got to organize this place a little bit better. What I'm going to do is, see, as you can see in this construction, as you can see here, I left it all in a straight line down there. So if I want to expand the base, I'll expand it in that direction there. And it'll widen inwards like that. That's how I'll expand the base. This is going to be the limit right here, this outer limit. And I'll go in this way a little bit so I can have a little bit extra room because of the land. You see, there's still land there, but that's it. I'm not going to really try to do more than that. And I think this is working out. But, maybe I'm just a big dumb guy. Maybe I'm, but I could program. I did have intelligence, guys. I did have skill, but they didn't care. Nowadays, that jobs are hard to find. You're going to see more nepotism. You're going to see more favoritism. You're going to see more bias. You're going to see people doing things for jobs they probably wouldn't think they would ever do. All right? But I wouldn't feel bad. I'm thankful I have a roof over my head, food in my belly, a job. I had this job for 6 years already. It's customer service. And I'm just thankful. I humble myself and I say I'm thankful for what I have. Even though sometimes I bitch and I rant because I expected $150,000 a year. I expected at least $70,000 a year, and I didn't even get that. I get like 30 at the most, and almost over half of it goes to rent. Over half goes to rent. I'm living off of maybe $300-400 a month for me and my cats, and I got to stretch out food and all that. I got serious bills all by myself. I got no backup, no family. My family died pretty much, and she was always poor and always making excuses. So anyway, the kid has right advice. If I had started now, well, I started 35 years ago, and I never went anywhere with it. So what I should have done is gotten smarter, faster, and just found something else to do. See, I've only had this job 6 years. Before that, only work I could find was warehouse work and, temporary work, and it just didn't last. So either way, these people fucked me over. Society fucked me. Business fucked me. My siblings, my mom fucked me over. Everybody fucked me over. So what I learned is if you're squishy as a person and you let people push you around and trick you and manipulate you, you get what you deserve. This place here, this poverty, this shame that I'm living, is exactly what I fucking deserve. Because I sat there and I let them fuck me over. I let them do it. I didn't fight back. I was conditioned to be a pussy. And I fell through with that conditioning. I did not overcome that conditioning. So anyway, be willing to stand up for what you want and all that shit. The so-called, righteous justice or whatever you want to call it. But I'll tell you something. The real world is much more cruel than people make it out to be. It really is. So I'm going to end the video. I got to get something to eat. I'm starving. And thank you for watching. I'm sorry it's a bit of a Debbie Downer, but the way I see it is this. People are so desperate for jobs that they're doing multiple streams of income. They're delivering food. They're selling, like YouTube. So they're content creators now. Before, all that stuff was just a fun thing to do, a side hustle where people would see you play your video game. And you know what? Now they're making it into a major thing. And they're running around and making big bank over it. It's sad. It's just so sad. But, that's not the way the world was originally designed. It was designed for a guy to have a family, to have one job, pay all the bills, and everybody was fine. But now, you have to understand that behind the scenes there's a depopulation agenda. They want to prevent people from reproducing. So they make things harder. Eventually, they're going to make it so hard they're going to start another war to get rid of unnecessary population. That's how elites think. That's what I heard through the grapevine, through so many testimonies, it's not even funny. So if they squeeze the economy, there's a couple of reasons to do that. Number one, the new world government, the new world currency, the new world finance, and new world religions are going to come in. All that shit's going to come together at one point and try to manifest. And people are going to be scared out of their minds because it's a war. Oh, it's a disease. Oh, it's aliens. It's, it's going to be one bullshit after another. So like I said, if you're really poor like me and everybody gave you the finger, just do what you have to do to survive. And don't feel too bad about it. All right, I got to go. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.